Park ranger Tom Wheeler is making his usual rounds through a remote Pacific Northwest forest when he spots a professional-grade camera half buried in fallen leaves. The strap is torn, but the memory card is intact. Inside are over 400 stunning wildlife photographs, elk at dawn, bears, foxes, all perfectly composed. Tom assumes a photographer went missing and launches a search operation. For 3 weeks, he follows the trail of images deeper into the wilderness. The air was cool and sharp that October morning, carrying the scent of damp pine and decaying leaves. Tom Wheeler had been walking these trails for nearly 20 years, and yet something about the forest still surprised him every now and then. He moved slowly along a narrow path that wound through a remote section of the Pacific Northwest wilderness. Few hikers came this far. The terrain was too rough, the trails unmarked. It was the kind of place where silence stretched for miles. That was when something caught his eye. Half buried beneath fallen leaves, near the base of an old Douglas fir, lay a camera. A professional-grade body, black and heavy, the kind used by wildlife photographers who spent weeks in the backcountry chasing the perfect shot. The strap was torn, the casing scratched and muddied. Tom crouched down and pressed the power button. The screen flickered to life. The memory card was still inside. He scrolled through the first few images and his breath caught. A bull elk standing in golden morning light, mist curling around its antlers. A black bear mid-yawn, sunlight streaming through the canopy. A red fox frozen in motion, its amber eyes staring directly into the lens. The shots were extraordinary. Perfectly framed, impossibly timed. Each one looked like it belonged in a magazine. Tom assumed he had stumbled upon the work of a serious professional, someone who had ventured too deep and perhaps gotten lost. Or worse. He logged the GPS coordinates and returned to the ranger station, already preparing to launch a search. Someone he believed was missing. Over the following days, Tom studied the photographs one by one. There were over 400 of them. He analysed the backgrounds, looking for identifiable landmarks and the angle of sunlight through the trees. He cross-referenced timestamps and mapped out a rough trail. The deeper he looked, the more concerned he became. No one had reported a missing photographer. No abandoned vehicles had been found at any trailhead. Whoever had taken these photos had seemingly vanished. Tom began spending his evenings in his small cabin, scrolling through the images again and again. He noticed details he had overlooked before: a particular mossy boulder, a twisted cedar tree, a stream curving through a rocky gorge he recognized from a seldom-used trail. He followed those clues into the wilderness, retracing what he believed to be the photographer's path. He hiked for hours, sometimes until dusk, hoping to find a tent, a pack, or any sign of human presence. But the forest offered nothing. 3 weeks passed, the mystery only deepened. Then, one night while reviewing the images, Tom noticed something he had missed. In several photographs near the edge of the frame, there was a blur, a soft, fuzzy shape that appeared again and again. At first, he dismissed it as motion blur, but the more he looked, the more it seemed deliberate, almost like a paw reaching toward the camera. A strange thought entered his mind. What if the camera had not been lost? What if it had been taken? Tom returned to the spot where he had found the camera and set up a motion-activated trail camera nearby. Then he waited. 3 nights later, the footage revealed something he never expected. A family of raccoons emerged from a hollow beneath an old oak. 2 adults and 3 young kits. One of the adults approached with curiosity. Another dragged something shiny from beneath a pile of leaves. It was a camera strap. Tom watched in disbelief. The raccoons had stolen the camera from a nearby campsite and claimed it as their own. Their curious paws had pressed every button, triggered the shutter hundreds of times, and created what Tom had believed to be the work of a master photographer. The perfectly composed shots were accidents. The golden light was just the sun rising at the right moment. The dramatic angles came from the camera tumbling through branches as the raccoons fought over their shiny prize. Tom sat alone in his cabin that night, laughing until tears rolled down his cheeks. For 3 weeks, he had been chasing a ghost, and all along, the real photographers had been a band of mischievous bandits with no idea what they had created. But even as the laughter faded, something stayed with him. The photos captured something no human could have staged. Animals completely unaware of being watched. Moments of pure, unfiltered nature. There was a kind of honesty in those images that no amount of skill could replicate. On impulse, Tom submitted the best 20 photographs anonymously to a national wildlife photography contest. 2 months later, a letter arrived. The series had won first place and a prize of $10,000. He donated the entire amount to build a small wildlife rehabilitation center near the park entrance. He named it Bandit's Den. The original camera now sits in a glass case in the visitor center lobby. Beside it hang the award-winning photographs. A plaque beneath the display reads, "Captured by nature itself." Sometimes when visitors admire the images, Tom tells them the story. He watches their faces shift from confusion to wonder, and then to something softer. The best artists, he often says, never know they are creating anything at all. Perhaps that is the lesson the forest offered him. That beauty does not require intention. That sometimes the most extraordinary things come from the most unlikely places. The next time you walk through a quiet stretch of woods, pay attention to the small things. The world is full of artists who will never know their names,